Have you been in your head for way too long? Have you just sat there and just overthought everything that you do? Well, we're going to talk about that today. Overthinking can be a challenge. It takes a great idea and leaves it in your head. It moves you from a place of I want to I never will. It keeps you locked in this cycle, and what you never do is take action. So the dreams in your head stay that way. They stay as dreams and never become reality because you, my friend, me, the people who are part of the Overthinking Academy, stay in our head and we tend never to move forward. Well, you may have seen that because you haven't seen a video from me in a few months, and that is simply because I fell into an overthinking problem. I what ifed myself so bad that I stopped creating. I stopped doing the things that I love, and I stopped giving value. I just got inside my own head and I was stuck in the paralysis of the analysis, which means I got so far in my head that I did nothing and it paralyzed me. And for months after months after months, I stayed at a place where I didn't create. I survived and I wasn't thriving. Is that you? Have you ever been in that place? Let me know in the comments. The truth of it is that sometimes we can go down the rabbit hole of our head, the rabbit hole of our thoughts, and get stuck in a place we never wanted to get stuck in. Let me take the next few minutes and just give you a couple action steps on what I did in order to help myself get out of this and get back here to you. So as I was sitting there in this place of overthinking, I really realized that I was collecting regrets and not stories. So as we get through this and take action steps and get into a place where we're moving you out of the paralysis of the analysis and into action so that you can move your dreams into reality, the thing that I did that I think that you should adopt into your thought process, into your action steps taking is this: be a story collector, not a regret collector. And this sounds so crazy to be like, be a story collector and not a regret collector, but there's something that you need to hear about this. There's something that is so deep inside of us that needs to be heard. And that is simply, we collect what we attract. And if you're attracting regrets, you're going to collect regrets of should have never dids. I wish I should have never did this. Or I wish I could have did this. I wish I should have did this. Stop shoulding all over the place and start acting. Start moving into story collection. I want to be a person who collects amazing stories that I can share with you. I want to be a person who gets out there and experiences life and says, wow, I've been to 30 different countries. By the way, I've been to 30 different countries, or maybe more. I don't know. I'll count. But here's the deal. You have got to understand, and I've got to get to this place of understanding that overthinking robs us of those stories. And if you're going to be robbed of stories, then all you're going to do is collect regrets. A next thing that would really help you, and it absolutely helped me being off the couch, is addressing fears. And the addressing fears really said, what are you really afraid of? And you're like, well, I may be afraid of nothing. No, my friend. You are afraid of something. If you're overthinking, it may be that you want to be so perfect that you don't regret what's happening. You maybe want to be so perfect that you don't get rejection. You may be so perfect that you say, if I don't get this right, I'm not going to start. And listen, I know because I've been there. I sit there sometimes. Matter of fact, I think I gained the crown of being the king of this place from time to time because I overthought it because I wanted to make sure people were happy with what I was doing. In reality, if I'm real honest, if I'm real transparent, I wanted people to be happy with me, which really came back to this place of my own childhood regrets and how I fought and how I really felt like everybody needed to be right with me, but I felt like nobody was, and it wasn't the truth. It was a lie, I believe, but it caused my life to live by this fear of regret, fear of rejection, fear that nobody's going to like me, which caused me to be a people pleaser and overthink. But when I had started addressing the fears, I changed the what if. And instead of saying, well, what if they don't like it? Well, what if they do? Instead of saying, what if it doesn't make an impact? What if it does? Instead of saying, what if this doesn't work out for me? And then I'm like, what if it does? You know, you change it from a fear-filled what if to a faith-based or faith-filled what if, and you get into the place where you look at the positive. Remember, like begets like attracts like. So therefore, if I'm going to live in the hope of glory for the next and what's coming, then I've got to understand that I am going to say, what if it works? And if it doesn't work, it becomes a learning experience, but you've got to address the fears. So when you think about this, when you address your fears and you collect stories, you begin to get out of your head. And there's a place where you're like, wow, I want to collect stories. I want to collect experiences, and I'm going to take action, but let me address these fears. Let me sit with this, because if I address it correctly, I will overcome it and not come back to this place. Because this whole video is about getting out of your head, getting out of my head, getting out of the space between our ears that's keeping us from inaction. And what that is, here it is, my friends. Find a friend to talk to. Matter of fact, find a friend who's not going to agree with you, right? They're going to call you out on your junk. Now, I have several friends that I'm gaining and gathering around me that are like this. There are people at my church who are leaders and are like, Jim, this is what needs to happen in your life. And I'm like, yo, that hurt, but it was so good. And then I have friends that on YouTube here that I collab with, and these guys are amazing. Matter of fact, here's the deal. You can't do life alone. But these leaders, that Mike Ashley, Mike Phillips, and Ian, and all these guys, and I'll link their stuff down below. But here's the deal. They got on me. They're like, where are your videos? We are a YouTube collective. Where is your video? And I was like, I'm thinking too much. And he's like, you better have it. I'm like, okay. And then he'll apologize. Listen, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm like, please don't apologize for being this way, because it's helping me get out of my own head. Because in this conversation of what we call tough love, quote unquote tough love, where you really care about what I really am here to do, I accept it, I receive it, because I don't want yes people saying, it's okay, you'll get around to it sometime. Yeah, it'll be sometime in the future. No, I want people to say, listen, your lies are crap. You're saying stupid things. So let's get you out and get into the zone of genius, which is dealing and navigating relationships and navigating leadership with people and navigating communication. Get out there and do what you were created to do. But when I was focusing on me and saying, well, I'm not good enough to show up because I'm not going to be received, that was junk, and kept me in the paralysis of the analysis, because I was so afraid of what others could see and what others could think about me that I forgot there's something greater. Because these videos are for the people who are like, man, I needed that. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also hit the comments area. Let's start a conversation. How have you been affected by overthinking, and what do you feel has been your biggest regret because you were an overthinker? Until the next time, talk to you soon.